Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome to 1minutetennis.com. In today's session, I want to talk to you about how to create really heavy topspin on your forehand. And I want to show you what movement and what part of the body you should emphasize your efforts on to create a really aggressive, powerful, and yet still consistent stroke. Now, obviously, to create topspin, we have to come from low to high. Coming with a brushing or skimming motion, we come from below the ball to over the ball and create effect and control and power. But to make this topspin shape, many traditional coaches concentrate on the wrist movement, on making a wrist movement come over the ball in this fashion. But this is deeply flawed, because when we look at the range of motion of the wrist, it's actually very much controlled by the elbow. Let me show you what I mean. If I take my wrist now and lock the forearm here, I'm holding the forearm into position, and now look at the range of motion of the wrist. And it's very limited. When I add the racket, it's clearer to see. So again, I'm holding the forearm in place. I have a continental grip so that you can see the full range of motion more clearly. It's not disguised by a Western grip. And that's the range of motion of my wrist. But now, if I hold my upper arm and allow the elbow to rotate, then suddenly the range of motion is vastly greater, with the wrist isolated and with the elbow and wrist free. And you can see a vast change in the movement that's suddenly available to me when I emphasize the elbow. And this is very much applied when we come to make the forehand stroke. So if I concentrate on a wrist movement here, then I'm going to have a limited range of motion. But if I concentrate on an elbow movement, then I have a much greater angle to create an attack to the ball, and I'll create more topspin. So the first part of this is that we need to focus on the elbow more than the wrist, and we rotate the elbow. And this is pretty easy. I'm just focusing on the elbow. But to get this to snap into the ball, to create a really powerful recoil, to create real effect on the ball, to shape the ball, we need to look at how we set the movement up. You see, the wrist and forearm and elbow will naturally react to how we're approaching the ball. So what's really going to happen is that the racket is going to open up from the elbow in this position here. But if I do that at the beginning of the stroke or early in the stroke, then I'm just going to loft the ball into the air. See here, and the ball is going to be lofted into the air. Many players play with a slightly open racket face, and if they're hitting the ball slowly, it doesn't matter. But if you start to really accelerate, then that ball's just going to be lifted out of the court and maybe out of the grounds. So we need to have a controlled racket face. And to do this, we want to make a almost counterintuitive movement. So what happens is this: if the racket face is at 90 degrees to the ground when I make my stroke, and now I rotate from the elbow, then I'll have very light topspin as I just slightly skim through the ball. But if I do the opposite of what I want to do here, and I now close the racket face, and I invert it, so I close it as far as I can. It could be to the ground, which some people label to pat the dog, or it can be further back here. But if I close the racket face and then rotate the elbow, then now, I'll show you from several different directions, I will create this tremendous whipping motion. So I'm thinking of two things here. I've closed the racket face, and now I'm going to rotate the elbow. I'm not thinking about the wrist at all. The wrist is a byproduct. So here, closed racket face, rotate the elbow and swing. When you close the racket face, rotate from the elbow, then you will get fantastic topspin. You'll get power and control. It'll just be a better stroke. I hope this makes sense. And if you like my ideas, check out our other services. We provide a unique online coaching service with a combination of video analysis and then personalized one-to-one training such as this. And also we have a full range of books on Amazon. We cover every part of the game, including the biomechanics, the science, and then really simple solutions such as this. Our latest book is online now, The Power Solution. So to really energize the topspin on your forehand, think of two parts to the stroke. Think about closing the racket head and then rotating from the elbow. Don't think about the wrist. That's just a part of the kinetic chain. By focusing on the take back, the closed racket face, and the elbow, you'll get way more topspin and a much better stroke. Thanks for watching, and see you next time for more unique tennis lessons that really work.
Yes.